Welcome to this training video. What we're going to cover today is setting up a new company file using MYOB Account Right. So let's do this. First, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new company file for a business called Noddy's Kitchen Services Limited. It's a Timaru-based company run by Jeff and Joe Noddy. They employ one person to help run the business, but otherwise they just run it themselves, so it's very small. The company is registered for GST on a payments or cash basis. So we've clicked on the icon to open up Account Right, and we've come into the welcome screen. Here we have options. We can either open a company file, and here are three that have already been created, or we can create a new company file. We can upgrade a company file from an old version of MYOB, or we can explore the sample company, which is Clearwater. So let's go create a company file. Okay, so the assistant asks us which product are we registered or licensed to use. We have three options. You would either be registered for Plus, Standard or Basics. Let's assume we want, or where you should be using Account Right Standard. Choose that and then choose Next. It now requires a serial number, but we can enter this later, so let's leave it blank. Enter the company name. Noddy's Kitchen Services has been entered as the only compulsory bit of information on the screen, but all the other information should be entered at this time. The address will be used on reports and forms, so make sure we get this right. And all other information should be entered as well. Once you've done that, you choose Next. This screen sets our financial year, which is the financial or current financial year, or that financial year you wish to start recording transactions in. We will say it's 2013. The last month in New Zealand, we'll say it's March. But if you're not sure, check with your accountant. Once you've set this last month, it's not easy to change, so get it right. Your conversion month is the month where you wish to start recording transactions in MYOB. We'll select April, which is April 2012. You can't record transactions prior to the 1st of the 4th, 2012. Again, make sure this is right. Then choose Next. Here we have to build our accounts list. There are three options. Start with an accounts list provided by MYOB. They give us some predefined accounts lists to use. Or we can import an accounts list from our accountant or MYOB certified consultant. Or we can build our own list. We're given a very basic list to start with. Let's start with the accounts list provided by MYOB. Choose Next. Here we choose the industry that we are mostly aligned to. We have some choices. So what we're going to do is choose Service, because Noddy's Kitchen Services is a service business. And we get a selection of accounts which we can print and check. We'll come back to this list later. It's very, very important this list is set up the way we want it. I would recommend that you print the list. Now we choose Next. We're going to create the company file. It'll be called Noddy's Kitchen Services.myox. It'll be saved in my library. Just leave it there unless you really need to change locations for it. Click on Create Company File. Okay, the next job is to go into the Easy Setup Assistant. This is where we can continue setting up our company file. Now we're asked about activating our company file. We either have 29 days to activate it, or we can turn it into read-only, or we can be a student and just testing MYOB for evaluation purposes. We're going to activate later. The best way to activate your file is by activating it online. Choose Next. And we have a message saying that we have 29 days left to activate our company file. Choose OK. We come into our Easy Setup Assistant. This is where we tailor MYOB, set up new accounts, enter card files, which is names and addresses of customers and suppliers, and enter opening balances. So let's go across these four options, starting with Customize. Click on Customize, and then it gives us a welcome screen. Just choose Next. Okay, so all the ticks are selected in this particular data entry screen, so I would recommend you leave those on. You can read them and decide whether they come on or off. We will just choose Next. The next screen is optional. We can select and display account name or number. A number of businesses prefer to select a name, not a number, so that again is up to you. Again, select items by name or by number. Select cards by name or card ID. Generally that is off. So these are optional preferences. Choose Next. Create contact log entries. This keeps a contact log note on every transaction that you put through on a customer or supplier. I'd recommend you turn your contact logs on. Choose Next. Aging periods. I always recommend daily aging periods. 30, 60, 90 days works best when you're running statements and aging reports. So just leave it as 30, 60, 90 for now and choose Next. I prefer help from the internet rather than my computer. I will tick the option on, and I don't want to display the to-do list when opening your company file. Again, optional. Number of businesses have this ticked on, and choose Next. You've got a congratulations message. Just click on Close for now. The next job is to go to the accounts. Again, we have a welcome message which you can read through. Choose Next. This is where we have to very carefully go through and modify our list of accounts to suit the business needs. For instance, I only have one bank account in this business, so I don't need three of them. So I can highlight the one I don't want to keep and choose Delete. So I've just removed the surplus bank account. To edit an account, highlight the account and choose Edit. I'm going to call this ANZ bank account. So just change the name of it as you see fit and then go OK. Let's assume we want to edit the second bank account and call it the ANZ savings account. Take out number 2 and choose OK. So what we have to do here is very carefully go through every account on this list and decide whether we delete it, whether we edit it, or do we need new accounts created. Because getting the accounts list right in your MYOB file is one of the most important jobs you will ever do. It must look and feel like that list you've been using, or the list that the accountant uses to create your end of year tax accounts. So I can't point out more strongly how important it is to go through this list and ensure it matches. If you don't need accounts, you can just highlight and delete. This could take some time, so we won't do it all at this time, we will do it later. But you need to go through and decide what stays and what goes. For now, just choose Next. Now at this point we have the opportunity to enter our opening balances. So this is where we go through and enter our balances for each account. So let's take an example. We're going to enter some balances for our cheque account, $1,500. Our savings account, our balance is $5,000. Our petty cash is nothing. Our trade debtors account has a balance of $1,600. Our inventory has a balance of $8,000. Now all of these have come from our end of year balance sheet, which was created at the 31st of March 2012. So they're published sets of figures. You should get these balances and enter them correctly. If not, right away at some time in the future. So we'll leave that for now, and I'll continue to complete this exercise later, but your job is to complete this so that the amount left to be allocated should be zero. Now it may not be to begin with, but eventually it should set to zero. We'll choose next and we'll close. Our next step is to go to the sales. So in the sales, customer and sales information, we can set up through the wizard our customers and their balances. So choose next, and what we'll be choosing for this business is our service layout, because it's a service business. If you are selling items, we'll choose the item layout. So whatever suits the business we will choose. Then select next. Now the main income account for selling items will be services income, so you can select that at this time. We can also, if we wish, enter a standard credit limit for all customers, which we'll do so. The item price level will be base selling price. That's irrelevant because in this file we don't have items. Choose next. We can assign GST codes to our customers. Let's assume that standard GST applies to all customers for both sales and freight. Click on next. Our usual payment method we can choose as other. Most customers pay us with direct debit. And payment is mostly during this business on the 20th of the month following. So we can set the balance due days as 20 days after the end of the month. We don't have a percentage discount for early payment or monthly charge for late payment. Choose next. Here we have to set up the accounts to track customer receipts. When customers pay us, the money goes to our ANZ bank account. When customers pay with a cheque, then we can put the money into our undeposited funds account. Choose next. Now we can build our customer list. We can either import a list from a text file or simply create a list in MYOB. We're going to create a list in MYOB. So choose new. And the first customer is called Eco Kitchens Limited. All we're going to do at this point of time is enter their name. Choose OK. The second customer is going to be called Kitchen Wizards. Choose OK. Let's assume we just have two customers now, and that's all we need to set up from the beginning. We'll choose next. Now what we can do is we need to balance off our debtors figure of $1,600, which we entered before, to our customer balances. To do this, we just choose Add Sale. Find the customer, Eco Kitchens. Now the date of this is set to 31/3/12. Again, you could make that earlier if you wished. If the balance was outstanding at an earlier date, we could choose it at this point. So the total including GST was, let's say, $600. Click on record. Add another sale. Find Kitchen Wizards. Choose the date of the invoice from the previous month. And we're going to say that this next amount that they owed, or the amount they owed on conversion date, was $1,000. Choose record. Okay, having done that, we now see that our out of balance amount is 0. We have now balanced up our debtors list with the figure that we entered in the trial balance. So we've done our opening balances for our debtors. At this stage, let's just choose next and then close. We're now going to go in to the purchasers side and complete the Easy Setup Assistant by entering our opening balances for our creditors and any suppliers that we deal with and that we owe money to on conversion date. To do this, go to our purchases and click on Next. The purchase layout, we'll be using our service layout for this business because we're not buying items. Choose Next. The standard expense account, there won't be one because every business varies in their type of expense in terms of our accounts. So leave that blank, as is the credit limit. Leave it blank. The credit limit could vary among different suppliers. Choose Next. Typical GST assigned to our suppliers will be S15 for standard GST. Just ensure you've got S15 in both fields and then choose Next. Our payment method, mostly we pay by internet. We'll choose the other option. And our payment is due on the 20th of the month following, typically, so enter those details. There's no discount days or percentage discount for early payment in this business. Choose Next. We normally pay our suppliers from our ANZ bank account. Choose Next. Now, at this point, we can import a list of suppliers from a text file, or we can just simply choose New to create a card. For Noddy's Kitchen Services, we're going to create 2 suppliers that we deal with, or that we owe money to on conversion date. Okay, so the first supplier is called Facelifter Services. Just enter that now. We won't enter any other details at this time, but we could do. Choose OK. Another new supplier that we need to enter is going to be called Nippon Distributors Limited. Again, we can enter details about the supplier. For now, we'll just click on OK. So here are our suppliers. These are people we owed money to on our conversion date. Other suppliers can be entered as and when required. Choose Next. Now we entered a balance of $6,200 for our creditors as our creditors figure. So we can go and balance up our creditors. So choose Add Purchase. The first supplier, Facelifter Services. We can enter the supplier number in here and the date that we received the invoice. The total including tax is $4,000. Click on Record. Add another purchase. This time it is Nippon Distributors. Again, change the date if you wish to the date we received the invoice. And the total including tax is $2,200. We can put the invoice number in if we wish to. Click on record. Okay, once you've done all your historical purchases, you'll see your out of balance amount is equal to 0. It's important we try and achieve that out of balance amount from the start. Very important. At this point, we'll choose next. And we get a congratulations note saying that we've finished our Purchases Easy Setup Assistant. Click on Close. Then choose Close. To get to any of those areas that we've just been in, the easiest, simplest way is go to Setup from the main menu, and then go to Balances, and then go into Account Opening Balances, or we can enter Job Opening Balances, Customer or Supplier Balances. If we wish to go back into our Easy Setup Assistant, that's no problem either. We can use the Easy Setup Assistant from that Setup menu and go back in and make alterations if we wanted to go that way. Choose Close. Thank you for listening to this video tutorial. We hope to see you soon.